The blast doors of Sector 7 collapsed inward with a scream of tortured alloy. Unit 4, 8 feet of armored kitten wrapped in military-grade plating, hit the corridor floor at a full sprint. Behind him, 3 elite guards followed in a panicked, graceless tangle, their fear pheromones leaking into the air and painting the walls in streaks of glowing blue bioluminescence. 3 levels above, Station Commander Valeur stared at the security feeds, her ice stalks retracting in instinctive dread. "Seal it," she hissed. "Seal the sector immediately." "Commander," an aide stammered, "the gardener is still inside." "I don't care if the great architect himself is trimming roses in there," Valeur snapped. "Close the doors. Now." Inside the Arboretum of Kepler 9, the air was warm and heavy with moisture, filled with drifting mist and the scent of blooming vines. Grow lights hummed softly overhead. Dex stood calmly among the greenery, misting a fern with steady hands. Broad-shouldered and dressed in faded blue coveralls, his hazel eyes were narrowed in quiet focus. He looked exactly like what he was, a man who preferred plants to people, and silence to chaos. Then the world behind him detonated. Aerolith emerged through the smoke like a living nightmare forged in a particle furnace. Her pink skin was smeared with violet blood, magenta hair whipping wildly like solar flares. She was the Void Blade, a genetically engineered apex predator designed to awaken terror in 1,000 species at once. Her fear field radiated outward, an invisible distortion that caused alien nervous systems to buckle and fail. Dex glanced at his watch. "We close at 6, he said calmly, his deep voice vibrating through the soil beneath his boots. "And you're tracking mud across my clean floors." Aerolith froze. Every combat subroutine in her brain skipped. She was death-given flesh, and this human was regarding her with mild irritation, the look reserved for pests that didn't know better. "You," she rasped, raising her knife as it caught the grow lights in fractured rainbows. "You should be afraid." Dex set down the spray bottle. "Should I?" he asked. "You're bleeding badly. You're going to sit before you bleed out all over my Monstera Deliciosa." "I am the Void Blade," she hissed, swaying. "The hand that reshapes empires." "Yeah, I've seen the posters," Dex replied. "You're taller in person. Now sit." For the first time in her violent existence, Aerolith hesitated. Humans were their own peculiar cosmic error, too stubborn to recognize hopeless odds and too practical to care. Aerolith swallowed, gripping her blade tighter as her vision swam. "I could kill you," she whispered, though her hand shook. "Probably," Dex agreed, stepping calmly into her striking distance. "But you won't. You're injured. You're scared. And I'm the only one on this station not running from you." The battle haze surged again, fueled by neurotoxins burning through her veins. She lunged. The strike was flawless, an arcing blur meant to sever a head cleanly from shoulders. Dex didn't retreat. He moved forward. His left hand snapped up like a steel trap, catching her wrist mid-swing. The sound of creaking bone echoed through the garden. Aerolith gasped. Human bone density was a cruel joke played on the galaxy. She had technology, he had mass. "Drop it," Dex said evenly. He reached to his belt, produced a pair of hydraulic pruning shears, and snipped the power cable feeding her suit's strength amplifiers. The blade clattered harmlessly to the floor. She tried to headbutt him. Her forehead struck his collarbone and rebounded. Stars burst across her vision. "Done?" Dex asked, pinning her gently against an ancient earth oak. "Or is this a battle trance thing? Take a breath." 10:9. The haze faded. Pain rushed in. With it came the cold understanding of mortality. "They'll kill me," she whispered. "Not in my garden," Dex said. He lifted her and carried her to the potting bench as carefully as if she were made of spun glass. To the galaxy, Aerolith was a weapon. To Dex, she was an injured transplant in the wrong environment. He cleaned the wound, neutralized the toxin using alkaloids from his private supply. "Why help me?" she asked quietly. "I've killed hundreds." Dex tapped his ID badge. "I'm staff. This is my station. These are my people, even the scary pink assassins." The PA crackled to life. Governor Zhao's smooth, venomous voice echoed through the arboretum. "Attention! A containment breach has occurred. Protocol Theta is authorized. Civilians have 3 minutes to evacuate before sector purge." Aerolith panicked. "Neurotoxin. You have to go." Dex studied the readout, then laughed. "Capsaicin," he said. "Lethal nerve agent for aliens, maybe." He grinned. "I'm from Texas. My grandmother made salsa that could strip paint." White mist poured from the ceiling vents. Aerolith pressed her respirator tight, watching in disbelief as the fog thickened. Dex stood in the center of it, inhaled deeply, and sniffed. "Ghost pepper extract," he mused. "Good batch. Bit of jalapeno on the finish." He returned to misting his fern. 3 decks above, Commander Valeur stared in stunned silence. The human wasn't dying, he was dusting. "He's watching us," Aerolith whispered, pointing toward a camera. "Let him," Dex said, meeting the lens. "You want her, Governor? You'll have to come through me." Zhao sent drones instead of guards. Black, matte spheres descended, plasma ports glowing. "Behind the Monstera!" Dex shouted. As plasma fire erupted, Dex didn't reach for a weapon. He whistled, a sharp, modulated trill. The decorative vines overhead uncoiled with serpentine grace. "Genies Letheria," Dex yelled over the noise. "Been training them. They like electricity." The arboretum became chaos. Vines lashed outward, snatching drones midair and crushing them. When industrial cutters arrived, Dex triggered emergency growth protocols, scattering hormone seeds. Roots punched through flooring like pile drivers. Stems thick as wrists erupted upward, forming a furious accelerated jungle. "Phase 2, Dex muttered, grabbing his wrench. "We go loud." He bypassed the irrigation restrictors, tapping directly into the station's main hydraulic line. Superheated, abrasive water screamed through a makeshift cutter, slicing through reinforced bulkheads and severing power conduits. Lights died. Environmental systems flatlined. "No purge today," Dex growled. Together, they fought through 7 sectors. Dex moved like a storm of wrench strikes and hydraulic punches. Aerolith flowed beside him in magenta blur and singing steel. They breached the governor's office together. Zhao paled. "I security ran," Dex said calmly, tossing his wrench onto the desk. "And I recorded everything. Illegal orders. Protocol violations. You'll resign," he continued, "or this goes to oversight. Or she removes your head." "You're bluffing," Zhao sneered. Dex smiled. "I'm a gardener. I document everything." 2 weeks later, the collective fleet arrived expecting ruin. Instead, they found a reorganized command structure, a new governor, and a garden steadily recovering from accelerated warfare. They also found Aerolith, wearing cargo pants and a work shirt, learning fertilizer ratios. The investigators tried to reclaim her. "Rogue asset," they insisted. Dex stepped between them, arms crossed, unmoving. "Station staff. My hire. My responsibility. File the paperwork and wait 18 months." The fleet departed empty-handed. That night, beneath an artificial sunset, Aerolith watched Dex inspect his tomatoes. "You gave me a life," she said quietly. "The void blade is finished." "Good," Dex replied, touching her face gently. "Gardens take time. We've got forever." The next morning, a new sign appeared on Sector 7's door.